Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. So, let's continue with our talk on how to be more intentional about church. But before we go into that, I want us to take care of some foundational issues. So, the question, how did we start going to church? Or how were we introduced to church? Is a foundational issue I want us to really talk about quickly. Now, for some of us, it was our parents that took us to church. In fact, they dragged us to church, and every Sunday they would do the same. But that wasn't the problem. The problem started when we began to understand some of the things that were being taught, and we discovered that what was being taught was different from what we were seeing some of the elders and church people do. There was some kind of disconnect. As for some of us that were quite inquisitive, when we started asking questions, the answers we were getting were not satisfactory. And some of the elders of the church, some of our parents, chose arrogance above knowledge. So there were times we would ask questions and it would shut you up. In fact, sometimes it would make you feel like maybe you're possessed, you're the devil. Why are you asking such questions? But all we wanted was to understand why certain things were being said, but it wasn't reflected in the lives of people who said these things, or who said they were practicing these things. And so this kind of behavior from the others birthed three categories of people. Now, the first category of people are those people who, when they began to taste some level of independence, they stopped going to church. I belong to that category. When we were able to now decide if we would go to church or not, we stopped without any apologies. We didn't go to church again. Now, the second category of people are the people who decided to continue with the tradition. They also chose arrogance above knowledge. And so they started doing the same thing to their kids. Some of you in my age category who now have kids, you're doing the same thing to your kids, just forcing them along. Let's go. When they ask questions, you shut them down. And a lot of the elders were doing that in the past because they didn't know better. Yeah? They didn't know better. Now, you would want to say that some might have ulterior motives, but that's not my ministry, so we're not going into that. We're just talking about knowledge here. Some didn't know better. They didn't know how to explain. They didn't know what to explain. Now, the third category of people are the people who are bringing more light to the Bible and the Christian religion today. These are the people who, they didn't stop going to church. Neither did they carry on with the tradition. Rather, they chose knowledge above arrogance. These are the people that started doing more in-depth studies. Some of them they decided to go to Bible school. They decided to learn the language in which the Bible was originally written. And they began to uncover a lot of truths and began to be able to explain some of the things the elders couldn't explain. Okay, so we had these three categories of people, and we still have them today. Those who were taken to church by their parents, and when they got independence, they stopped going to church, and they still don't go to church because they've been hurt by some of the things the elders were saying. And some of us were disappointed with how they handled some of those issues and tried to explain things. I'm telling you to shut up, telling you that why would you be asking such questions, rather than admit that they did not understand as well. Okay, so now that's one set of people. Now another set of people who go to church started going to church because they saw that there was a place that their friends would go on Sunday. And they asked, where do you guys go on Sunday? It's church. Can I follow you people? Then that's how they started going to church. Follow. Started going, okay, Sunday, let's go to church. Go to church. So for some people, church is a place you go on Sunday. So that's why sometimes you hear people say things like, so somebody will just sit at home on Sunday. Yes, you can sit at home on Sunday. The God that I serve, the God that a lot of us serve, is not a God of Sundays, it's the God of every day. That's why you find some churches, their services, their major services are held on Sunday. So God is not a God of Sunday. But this is that thing I'm talking about not being intentional. So some people just go to church because it's a place they feel they should go on a Sunday. And that's why a lot of lives are not being transformed. A lot of lives are not being transformed. People are not experiencing what they should experience as people who belong to a church. And that's because they just go to church because that's somewhere that we should go on Sunday. So it's tradition for us to go to church on Sunday. So if you ask a lot of people, why do you go to church? They don't have a concrete answer to give you. But I believe if you're watching this, that should change. Because the reason you should go to church, or the reason you go to church, is to know more about Christ, to learn more about Christ, and to learn to become more like Him. A lot of people are not doing this because they don't know that that's what they should be doing. And that's why from Monday to Saturday, we exhibit a certain kind of behavior. Then on Sunday, we go to church and we don't learn what we should learn. And we come out of church and we are not transformed. So, if you are the kind of person that you've not even stepped out of church, you've started insulting the traffic guard, you've started quarreling with fellow motorists, you see someone, your neighbor that you've not been talking to, and you still walk past the person, you didn't go to church that day, you just went to warm the seat. Because if you went to church and listened, and what they said, if they said the right things, got into your heart, and you desire to be more like Christ and started acting more like Christ, you would change your behavior. The message will change your behavior if you allow it to sink in. All right, so this is getting too long. Tomorrow we'll continue with how to be intentional about church. There's a lot to talk about. So tomorrow we're going to go a little bit deeper into how to be more intentional about church. Thank you for watching. Thanks for following me. And I do wish you a fulfilling and highly productive week ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.